Does your child have messy, almost illegible handwriting? Are you wondering if this is a case for concern? Well, in this episode, we'll continue unlocking the mystery behind dysgraphia. We'll share how to test for it and what you as a parent can do to help your child find their written voice. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Tracy Young, OG tutor extraordinaire, founder of theliteracykeys.com, and most importantly, mom of a dyslexic daughter. Welcome to my podcast, where you'll discover ways to unlock your child's reading potential. I'll share tips, strategies, and war stories that have happened along the way, because everyone deserves to be able to read. So let's get started. Welcome to the Literacy Keys. Today, we're going to continue our discussion from the last episode about dysgraphia, but expand it to include how it is diagnosed and what you can do, specific tactics to strengthen your child's motor skills. In talking to parents, there's a lot of misunderstanding about dysgraphia. So let me start by saying this isn't just about messy handwriting. It's about a child's ability to express ideas and communicate in writing. Now remember, you can't prevent dysgraphia, but you can help your child manage it. So I also want to offer specific tactics that a parent can do to help their child. Let's start with the basics, and I apologize if this part is a little repetitive from the last episode, but we need a common understanding of the issue before we can discuss what you can do. What is dysgraphia? Well, it's a specific learning disability that affects a person's ability to write. It's a neurological condition that impairs the motor skills and cognitive processing involved in writing. That's a mouthful. Think of it like a disconnect between the brain and the hand. It can manifest in different ways. You could see motor dysgraphia. Now, this is a struggle with the physical act of writing. So a child might have poor pencil grip, write letters of inconsistent size and shape, or have trouble staying on the line. Their hand and arm easily hurt and get tired from the effort. Another type of dysgraphia is spatial dysgraphia. Now, this involves a difficulty with the spatial organization of writing. So, a child with spatial dysgraphia might have trouble with spacing between letters, words, or their sentences might drift up and down on the page. A third type to consider, or to be aware of, is dysgraphia with impaired written expression. A child might have wonderful ideas, but then struggle to organize them on paper. They might have difficulty with grammar, punctuation, sentence structure, like putting everything together. Now, it's important to remember that a child can have one, two, or all three of these challenges, which brings up the question of how is dysgraphia diagnosed? The first thing to know is that there's no single dysgraphia test. The diagnosis is made by a licensed professional, like a psychologist or an educational specialist, often as part of a comprehensive psychoeducational evaluation. The formal diagnosis is often listed in the DSM-5, which stands for Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 5th edition. So it's listed as a specific learning disorder with impairment in written expression. A licensed professional will look at several factors to get a complete picture of your child's abilities. These factors can include a review of your child's history. The professional will talk to you and your child's teachers to understand their academic history and developmental milestones. They'll also look at analysis of writing samples. They will look at your child's schoolwork to see if there are consistent patterns, such as poor spacing, inconsistent letter formation, or even a struggle to organize thoughts. There's also an assessment of fine motor skills. An occupational therapist may be part of the evaluation to test your child's fine motor skills, including their pencil grip, hand eye coordination, and how much physical effort they exert when writing. Another thing that they'll consider, standardized academic tests. These tests are used to measure your child's writing skills in comparison to other children their age. It's important that they be norm referenced or normative scores so that they can make a comparison with a larger pool of children their age. And the tests often evaluate everything from spelling, grammar, sentence structure, and the overall clarity of what is written. So the diagnosis is important because it's what qualifies your child for special education services and accommodations in school. So if you suspect your child has dysgraphia, the first step is to talk to their teacher about getting an evaluation. Remember to put the request in writing and copy the school's principal. So now that we have a better understanding of how dysgraphia is diagnosed, you're most likely interested in knowing what you can do to help. I found that the more we understand something, the more in control we can feel. That's part of the reason that I research everything. Let's face it, it's my coping mechanism. So now let's talk about what you can do. Granted, you are not an occupational therapist, but there are some things that you can try at home. You want to start with gross motor skills and then progress to fine motor skills. This means have your child use large movements with their entire arm and slowly progress to letter writing with a pencil. Gross motor skills being large movements with the arm, fine motor skills, the actual holding of the pencil, and writing with a fine writing instrument. So let's talk about some of the things you can do. The first is exploring sensory writing surfaces. Learning to form letters doesn't have to happen with a pencil on paper. You can use multisensory techniques that engage more senses than just sight. Write letters on your child's back. Have them try to guess the letter. Then let your child write on your back. You're looking to create tactile feedback that reinforces gross muscle memory. Another thing you can do is, at the appropriate time, you can strengthen fine motor skills. So before a child can hold a pencil correctly, they need strong hand muscles. An occupational therapist will use fun activities to build this strength. Think about playing with Play-Doh or putty. Squeeze it, roll it, using tongs or chopsticks to pick up small objects like cotton balls. These seemingly simple games actually build foundational strength that is needed before you can write. Another thing to consider is a metal writing frame or a pencil grip. The correct way to hold a writing instrument uses the thumb and index finger to hold the pencil, with the pencil resting on the middle finger. The other fingers should be tucked into the palm of the hand. This grip is called the tripod pencil grip, and it allows for fine motor control, making it easier to move the fingers rather than the entire hand or arm, which basically reduces fatigue and improves handwriting. Now, there are different stages of holding a pencil that your child will pass through before they move to the tripod pencil grip. There are instruments or gadgets, I'll call them, that you can use depending on what stage your child is at. Perhaps start with a metal writing frame. Just Google metal writing frame. This is a device that sits on the paper and helps your child determine where exactly to hold the pencil. The frame is made of lightweight metal and can accommodate different sized pencils. Once they've mastered this phrase, then you can move on to a pencil grip trainer. This is that rubbery cone thing that sits on the outside of the pencil, and it helps your child know which fingers to use when holding the pencil until it becomes automatic. Now, it's important to do it in the right order because you don't want to jump to that rubbery hold if They're not even sure where to hold the pencil, where along the pencil to hold it. An analogy that I'd like to think would be having your child run a 5K when they've just started walking. You got to learn to walk, then you learn to run, then you can train, and then perhaps you can think about a 5K, right? So determine what stage your child is in, and then that will help you address those needs accordingly. If you are interested in the metal writing frame, then search, and I put in quotes, metal writing frames and pencil grips to see what these instruments look like. I'll provide a link in the show notes for the metal writing frame. Another thing that you can do to help your child is teach them cursive. Now, this might seem counterintuitive, but cursive can actually be easier than print. Why? Print requires a series of individual strokes and lifts, which can be difficult for a child with motor control issues. Cursive, however, is one continuous motion in one direction. The continuous flow can be less physically and mentally taxing, and the letters are less likely to be reversed. Focus on the lowercase letters first and give yourself time to teach your child cursive. This will take weeks, not days, to master the 26 letters. My recommendation is don't follow the order of the alphabet. Instead, start with the letters that are most common in English: A, I, P, N, T, S. From there, continue with E, O, U, L, D, F, H, and G. Once they've mastered those letters, then you can move on to digraphs SH and G, because you'll need to show them how to link and connect the letters. Once they've mastered that, follow up with M, R, B, J, Y, K, C, digraph TH, digraph CK, and finally end with the remaining letters. The good news, like Z. And finally, end with the remaining letters like Z and any other one that I missed. The good news is that you don't need to use a quill and an inkstand. All kidding aside, cursive can help your child write more fluidly and with less frustration. Now, that is something that can work well with younger children. But what do we do for older students, right, who just look at you like, I'm not going to use a pencil grip? We get it. So, is there technology that can be leveraged for older students? And this is important because as children get older, the writing demands increase and the focus shifts from foundational skills to expressing their knowledge in written form. And this is where technology really becomes essential. I want to share 5 things that you can do to help an older student with dysgraphia. The first, embrace speech to text. This can be a true game changer. For a child with dysgraphia, the struggle isn't with their ideas, but with the physical act of putting those ideas on paper. Speech-to-text software, like the one built into Google Docs or Microsoft Word, allows them to dictate their thoughts and see them appear on the screen. This allows a child to focus on the content of their writing rather than on the mechanics. The technology is changing so quickly, so my recommendation is to do a quick search on the latest speech-to-text app and have your child experiment with 2 or 3 of them. Another thing you can do is have them learn how to type. Touch typing is a valuable skill for any student, but for a child with dysgraphia, it can be life-changing. It reduces the physical strain on It reduces the physical strain of handwriting and can often be faster, more accurate way to produce written work. Now, the goal is to increase speed while ensuring accuracy. So you want your child to move past the hunt and peck form of typing and to make sure that when they're actually using the keyboard, that they're typing the right letters, because otherwise too much time will be spent backtracking, erasing words, and everything else. Another thing you can do is you can use a graphic organizer. Older students often struggle with organizing their thoughts for longer paper essays. Graphic organizers, which can be paper-based or digital, provide a visual roadmap for the writing. Mind mapping apps can help them brainstorm and structure their ideas before they ever have to write a single sentence. Another thing to consider, request accommodations and modifications. Work with the school to ensure your child has the support they need to succeed. Now, this can include things like being allowed to type instead of handwrite assignments. And while some schools might offer unofficial accommodations, once they're in high school, anything that isn't official may go away. So it's important to put everything in writing. Finally, explore assistive technology. Beyond basic speech to text, there are a host of apps and tools designed to help. Apps like SnapType let a student take a picture of a worksheet and then type their answers directly into it. There are also apps that can help with note-taking, spelling, and grammar. A visit to an assistive technology specialist can help you find the tools that best fit your child's specific needs. Remember, dysgraphia can be a bumpy road, but by understanding the challenges, valuing the importance of foundational skills, and most importantly, by providing an encouraging environment, you are giving your child the greatest gift of all, the belief that they can overcome their struggles and succeed. Thank you for listening. If you found this episode helpful, 1, please share it with another parent who might need to hear the message, and 2, please consider writing a review. It makes an impact on the algorithm. Thank you. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you for listening to the Literacy Keys podcast. Follow us on social media, and most importantly, tell a friend. See you next week.